Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful round. This is the Sim Racers Room Porsche Cup Challenge. Of course, we're live. I'm your host, The Real High, aka Sagar Bakshi, and it's been a pleasure to take you from green to checker flag for a couple of races. And now we're getting past the halfway point and about to round out this championship. And this time we're racing at none other than Spa-Francorchamps. So without any further delay, let's get to the racetrack and see what the drivers are up to for this qualifying session. First, we have a couple of race details and keys to the race that we want to discuss. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Spa-Francorchamps, of course, is going to be a track length of 4.3 miles or 7 kilometers long, founded in 1921. It's been the current layout from 2022. We are in the country of Belgium, and we are in Francorchamps. 19 corners, 9 to the right, 10 to the left, with 337 feet of elevation change with a 0.65 mile or 1.05 kilometer long straightaway. 20 degrees Celsius is going to be the weather, 49% humidity, partly cloudy skies. Keys to the race are going to be track rhythm is key. Spa-Francorchamps is known about commitment and rewarding rhythm. Flowing lines through Erouge and Radillon, Poulan, and Blanchiment are vital to carry momentum. Make sure you get those keys sections nailed. Car management. Car management without ABS or traction control, it's all in your footwork. Make sure you modulate the brakes. Trail braking will be essential around Spa, so too much pressure will cause the rears to lock up. Use about 80 to 90% initial braking and release smoothly on turn in. The 992 is also very tail heavy on throttle application, so make sure that you manage your right foot pedal. Draft control being key number 3. We're going to talk about racecraft and strategy for just a second. Slipstream on the Cayman and Blanchiment are both powerful. Use it strategically and don't fight too early. Force attackers to the outside line at Lecombes and La Source both favor the inside line. And for pit and fuel for longer races, undercutting works well due to Spa's long lap time. Make sure you watch pit entry. It's easy to overshoot it. Precision and patience with overtakes. That kind of ties into key number 3 of this event so far. It's all about mindset and flow. Since Spa is going to reward precision and patience, overdriving leads to instability and flat spotted tires. Focus on smooth transitions. Brake, rotate, and throttle. Let the car breathe through high-speed corners, and you build your confidence gradually, especially into Erouge. If the car feels twitchy, you're not losing time by being a bit safer early on in the stint. So that's your keys to the race. Let's take a look at the calendar as well. See where we've been and where we're headed to. Been to Imola, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. The Red Bull Ring is where we just were at. Now we're at Spa-Francorchamps. The Hungaroring is up next. Circuit de Zandvoort is on round 7, and then Monza to finish things off for round 8. The grid might be small, but the championship standings are tighter than ever. Declan Daniel leads with 120 points in front of Jaden Harrison with 113, Peter Arundel with 109, Adi Nagel with 103, Monet Duploy in 5th with 99 points. There's your top 5, all 5 drivers getting prizes at the end of the championship season, so make sure you stay tuned to find out the who's who and the who's going to get what. Andrew Marsan in 6th, Kadim Mohammed in 7th, Louis Benny in 8th, Julian Narce in 9th, Branson Haldor in 10th, Kyle Barnes in 11th, Giannis Constantine, Gareth Wells, Michael Ashe, Jay Butler, Benny Vaga, Joshua Brady, and Deslin Van Gerp round out the 18 participants of this championship series so far. Let's see, for the qualifying session right now, it'll be Kyle Barnes, the American, leading with a 2:21.104. Andrew Marsan in P2, just about a 10th back. And then we have Peter Arundel, nearly 2 tenths back in 3rd. 2 tenths back and some change will be Declan Daniel, your championship leader. Then Monet Duploy in 5th, with Adi Nagel in 6th place. Purple sectors for Jaden Harrison as he warps down to pits with a 2:20.580. That'll be your new pole position time. Beats out Kyle Barnes by about half a second, whereas Kyle Barnes on the racetrack doesn't look like he's improving too well through sectors 1 and 2, but through sector 3, he is green, as it were. And coming into the final sector now, it doesn't look like he'll be on for a 2:20 right now. That might be an off track there for Kyle Barnes, and he chucks it into the wall out of frustration, teleports back to pit row, and he'll have to give it another clean shot with just about 7 minutes left in this qualifying session. It's one of those numbers left in the qualifying run. We'll have to see if Kyle Barnes wants to make another crack at it. Andrew Marsan, though, improving as he starts his first run at things. No, he is actually on an outlap, it looks like, as he bobs and weaves down the front straightaway of Kemmel. Kyle Barnes is on an outlap. Jaden Harrison on an outlap. Peter Arundel finds himself with a 2:21.08 on that previous attempt of his. He warps back to pit lane. Driver with 3.3K I rating is half second back from Jaden Harrison currently. And we talked about it during the keys to the race. Talk about it a bit more throughout the race. It's the rhythm, the flow, the consistency. It's great to be down into the 220s for an overall qualifying run as you start at the front of the grid or towards the front of the field. But can you keep that up throughout an entire stint? I highly doubt it. Probably driving on the limit of the vehicle beneath you and unable to keep that speed and momentum up for about 40 minutes consistently. So if these drivers are happy running their 221s consistently, they'll probably give Jaden Harrison a challenge to maintain his speed and consistency for the entire 40 minutes as he tries to push a little bit harder than the rest of the field. And we talked about it again during the opening session. The inconsistency of the throttle application, the lack of electronic aids in these vehicles are going to make it extremely difficult for the drivers time and time again to be able to keep on pushing successfully, as it's going to lead to some inconsistencies coming into some braking zones. Never 2 times are you ever going to be exactly the same coming into each braking zone, unless you're ticking away like a clock. Gravel traps scattered around Spa-Francorchamps will indicate track limits here for us, so no need to watch track limits unless you're talking about Arouge and Radillon, and that's where we're about to see Andrew Marsan go up the hill right now, and he stays within the red and yellow stripes between the mayo and the mustard, as it were. Little kick of pocket sand up there for Andrew Marsan. Check out Kyle Barnes as he starts his run coming through turn 1 right now. Down the hill, plummeting through Arouge, the Red River, and up through Radillon. Now he crests the hill, pumps it up into 6th gear, and comes all the way over to the right-hand side before switching out to the left, trying to drive in a straight line as possible. Coming down the Kemmel Straight, you have a little bit of time to check your mirrors before you get to the braking zone here for Lacombe's. Heavy on the brakes into Lacombe's. Don't really want to attack the inside curbs for Lacombe's. Really want to set yourself up for the second set of curbs through Malmedy. You do want to mount that curve as much as possible, shorten up the track there. Kyle Barnes goes green through sector 1 now. Down the hill through Brussels. Really want to double apex that corner the way that Kyle Barnes did it. Now through No Name. You really don't want to hit that sausage curb too hard. Don't want to go into the gravel trap to the outside of No Name and risk ruining your lap. He's doing a good job keeping it calm, cool, and collected. Through Pooh on another double apex corner. Lift of the throttle there just briefly to control the entry speed of the vehicle. And he's doing a good job keeping it to the left-hand side here for the entrance to the following chicane. Again, gravel traps scattered to the left and right of the track to indicate track limits so you don't run too wide without knowing it. And Kyle Barnes finds one of those gravel traps, the kitty litter, and might have gone a little too deep like 741. And that might ruin his sector 3 time, and it does. Not enough time gained through sectors 1 and 2 to make that one work. Through Blanchimont, the fast left-hander, just a tiny little lift to carry the speed and momentum there. We're going to see a lot of drafting potential and overtakes coming into this final chicane, the bus stop chicane. And Kyle Barnes goes extremely deep and wide there to set himself up for another run towards turn 1, the source. Adi Nagel running pretty well right now. As he comes through Blanchimont. Adi, of course, driving for Team Jesus, as always. Green through sectors 1, 2, and 3. Let's see if it'll be green through sector 4. And Adi's going to get to the line, find some improvement, if I'm not mistaken, a 121.801. And that'll still be good enough for 6th position. Adi typically running towards the mid-pack of this field and takes the race on his chin. And that'll be it for a handful of drivers as they rest their heads. Declan Daniel still out there looking to improve from 5th position. He's 7/10 off the mark. And that's not going to happen on this lap, it looks like, as he goes yellow through sector 2 through Puan. He looks pretty good and tidy. I'll have to keep an eye on him to see how far he fares off the leaderboard. But it won't be good enough for pole position at the very least. Quick pump of the brakes there, surprisingly, as he comes through that second chicane on the racetrack. Obviously unhappy with the way the car is handling this time around. Declan Daniel, usually a seasoned veteran when it comes to these Porsche Cup cars. He's obviously doing well enough to lead the championship right now. On merit and pace alone, a couple of victories under his belt. We'll take a quick look. He's taken 1 win, average start of 3rd, average finish has been 5th for Declan Daniel. Dayton Harrison has won 1 race, average start has been 1st place, average finish has been 2nd place for Jaden. 1 race victory for Peter Arundel and 1 race victory for Kadeem Mohammed. We'll round out the 4 races that we've been a part of so far. Kyle Barnes toting around the racetrack, but I believe that shall be the end of his run as well. Jaden Harrison, the last driver to finish up his qualifying run. And Jaden Harrison finds purple through sector 2, it looks like. Jaden Harrison has an I rating of 4.1K and an A license with 3.55 safety rating. One of the drivers to do the most amount of laps other than Declan Daniel. He'll be on his 7th complete lap when he crosses the line here. The DWR SimCoach Setups team will be pretty pleased with this result for his qualifying run. And improvement through sector 3 will be improvement through sector 4 as well. A 220.5 turns into a 220 444, and he sets the bar even higher for the qualifying session to show that he can run those 220s consistently here at Spa-Francorchamps. Quick little intermission while we wait for the drivers to get gridded up. And then we'll go through the grid running order as well. But it's going to be the same as the qualifying order. We will have a standing start here for the Porsche Cup Challenge, of course. Reminder that all the drivers are going to get 40% fuel load. So they will need to pit at least one time throughout this race to make it to the end. That throws a big wrench in everybody's strategy all the time, is forcing a 40-minute sprint race to be an endurance event and practicing hitting your marks, getting into the box, making sure your service is correct is a little bit more atypical than what we'd see on normal iRacing races, whether you're running a fixed race or you're running a smaller league race, let's say. So this is a little bit out of the ordinary for some people, and they're not quite used to it. Let's take a look at those results. For the qualifying run, it was Jaden Harrison with a 220.444. Kyle Barnes 0.6 back. Peter Arundel 6.63 back. 0.67 will be Declan Daniel. Andrew Marsan in 5th. Adi Nagel in 6th. Monet Duploy in 7th. And Julian Arce in 8th. The grid will be set up as such. Jaden Harrison and Kyle Barnes on row number 1. Peter Arundel and Declan Daniel on row number 2. Andrew Marsan and Adi Nagel on row number 3. And row number 4 will be Monet Duploy and Julian Arce. And we're getting ready to take the green flag here, rolling in towards turn number 1. And it's a poor start for Jaden Harrison, and it looks like Kyle Barnes doesn't have such great of a start either. And that'll be Declan Daniel in the Calypso Racing. No, that's Peter Arundel, who goes a little deep at turn number 1, trying to find his way through the middle of the drivers in the lead of the race. But Kyle Barnes and Jaden Harrison are going to go wheel to wheel, side by side. Might get a little 2x2 action, but it looks like Kyle Barnes actually holds on to the lead of the race, cuts in front of Jaden Harrison just in the nick of time, and covers that one off. Jaden Harrison's going to have a long way to go, very slowly down the front stretch, down the Kemmel Straight we are for the very first time of asking. He might get passed by 2 cars because of that slow let off that he had to provide coming in towards turn number 2. Oh, a little bump in the rumpus there from the 6 to the number 5. That'll be Peter Arundel getting the bump in the rump from Jaden Harrison. Covering off the inside line will be Jaden Harrison here. And trying to not get passed by another Calypso Racing driver. Right now, the running order is Kyle Barnes, Declan Daniel, Peter Arundel, and then Jaden Harrison, the driver who started in first, now in 4th place overall. Kyle Barnes gaining that 1 position, Declan Daniel gaining 2 positions. Peter Arundel started in 3rd, is running in 3rd right now. Everybody else in the same position that they started the race, other than Jaden Harrison, who's down those 3. Jaden Harrison cuts over to the inside line, coming out of Stavlot, and this might be a little bit too early, I think, and trying to go side by side through Blanchimont is quite sketchy. It looks like Peter Arundel backed out of it, trying to preserve some fuel anyways. We've seen the Calypso Racing drivers do this before. The strategy here is fuel consumption, and saving a few seconds in their pit stops has paid paramount to their race victory. 225.227, fastest lap of the race on that opening run. Arundel chases down Jaden Harrison in the battle for third and fourth overall. Peter Arendel's down 1 now from where he started this event. Jaden Harrison down 2 from where he started. He's got a long gap in front of him, about 2 1/10 seconds to Kyle Barnes out in front. So he's going to have to put the hurry up and go on sooner rather than later if he wants to close down that gap before the halfway point. Kyle Barnes obviously not worried about fuel consumption right now as he keeps on driving his heart out as fast as possible. Little kick of pocket sand coming up from the rear wheels of Arundel coming out of Malmedy. Oh, Jaden Harrison goes extremely deep and wide at Brussels. That's really going to challenge him now going forward. 1.1 back from Declan Daniel. Talked about it during the qualifying session, and I'll mention it again. Your outright pace is great overall for your qualifying run, but not perhaps the greatest thing for your overall consistency. If it leads to mistakes, you're not fast overall, you're just fast over one lap. The 220s might be possible for Jaden Harrison throughout the race, but will they be possible to stay consistently into the 220s? He showed us that he was capable of doing that for the qualifying run, producing at least 3 220 laps over and over again. But during the heat, it looks like his tires are just not quite up to temperature yet to be able to produce the same results. Battle for the lead, spicing up to be something now. Kyle Barnes and Declan Daniel separated by around half of a second as Declan Daniel steals the fastest lap of the race at 2:21.440. This is where the slipstream is going to be extremely effective, but also you can get caught in the dirty air from the car in front and lose a little bit of time trying to battle that. With the slipstream more effective coming down the Kemmel Straight than it is affecting Declan Daniel through Arouge and Radion. Closing down the gap very neatly here. Jaden Harrison also closing down the gap to 7/10 from the leaders right now. The squabbling amongst the leaders turns into a three-way battle very quickly as Kyle Barnes drives a slight defensive line. Not opening up the door or allowing Declan Daniel to strike while the iron is hot will be imperative to his success this event. Kyle Barnes, knowing that he had to do something early on in the event to prevent Jaden Harrison from running off with this race, did so, leading down and towards turn 1 and through Arouge, boxed out Jaden Harrison on the outside line and took the optimum line up the hill and carried a lot of speed. Jaden Harrison ended up falling backwards to 4th position off the start before we got to the first real corner of the race, which would be the Combs. Opening up that inside line just a bit, obviously not worried about the car behind because he's got a car attacking him from behind. Kyle Barnes, Declan Daniel, Jaden Harrison running nose to tail for 1, 2, and 3 currently. Dean Harrison pulls out fast lap, 2:21.8 on that previous lap. That'll be lap 3 completed now under our belt. As we get to the 7.5 minute mark of this event, I was about to say that we're about a quarter of the way done, but I don't think that math actually checks out. Kyle Barnes, extremely defensive, coming down the Camel Straight, coming in towards Lacombe, stays defensive, parking it in the middle of the corner. Dean Harrison closing down the gap substantially as it sits. Kyle Barnes with a little bit of wiggle through Malmedy. Keeps the car collected. Declan Daniel goes for a move. Kyle Barnes not phased by it whatsoever. Gives no breathing room to Declan from behind. Should that have been a lockup, a couple of cars would have been collected there. Pocket sand being thrown up in the air coming out of No Name. Declan taking an alternate line into the Fangies. Almost gave Jaden Harrison an opportunity to switch back to the inside line, but decided against it for some reason. That lost a considerable amount of time to Kyle Barnes out in front. Now the slipstream really effective here, coming down in towards Blanchimont. Declan Daniel covers off any attack from behind. Jaden Harrison in the purple DWR Simcoach setups car. Declan goes off the track and stays ahead of Jaden Harrison. I'm not seeing an off track actually, so potentially staying within track limits there. $221.9 compared to $222.3, $222.2 for the drivers behind. Kyle Barnes has got the throttle pedal mashed to the floor as much as possible for this opening stint. Wants nothing to do with the squabbling and battling with Jaden Harrison that is surely going to come towards the end of this event. Shall Jaden Harrison try something different, potentially go for an undercut this race? I'm not so sure what the right call is to make just yet, but the Calypso Racing drivers behind Peter Arundel and Andrew Marsan are within 0.6 of each other coming down into the combs. One, two, three. Who's going to fall in line? Kyle Barnes still unaffected by the attacking line of Declan Daniel. And was that a bump in the rump there from Declan Daniel that sent him a little deep coming out of Brussels? That might have been, or was that just throttle application? But Declan Daniel promotes himself up into P number 1. Jaden Harrison into P2 and P3 to Peter Arundel as Kyle Barnes falls back even further now into P6. See if we can get a quick replay of what happened here. There was contact between Declan and Kyle Barnes. Just the slightest of contact, but that was enough to throw Kyle off of his game and send him down the order pretty significantly. Switch back over to the lead of the race with Declan Daniel and Jaden Harrison. Peter Arundel under threat from Marsan as he went a little deep, coming into the bus stop chicane. Kyle Barnes entering pit road now. It's a bit early for a regularly scheduled stop. I'm not sure what's going on or if he's going to end up calling it quits now. Keep an eye on Kyle Barnes right now. He is coming out of pit lane, but more about that later. Here's the side-by-side battle that is concluding with Jaden Harrison making a leaping lunge towards Declan Daniel out in P1. Declan gives another little kiss to the rear end of Jaden Harrison. Now he's going to try to go for a look towards the inside of Brussels, but can't find the daylight on this occasion. Jaden Harrison driving the optimum line and keeping it tight to No Name as well. Epic head-to-head battle right now between Declan and Jaden, leading down towards Piff Path. And we'll have to check in with Addy Nagel and Andrew Marsan in just a few moments' time as they're separated by 0.8 of a second. But we'll stay glued to the lead battle, as this might be an opportunity for Declan Daniel to try to get past Jaden Harrison. Coming through Blanchimont, they are separated by just about nothing. And this will definitely be an attacking maneuver leading down in towards the bus stop chicane. But correct me if I'm wrong, Declan Daniel's a little too far back to make that leap of faith work out. And Declan really worse for wear coming through the bus stop chicane. 2:22.399 actually will be his time that lap. Almost a full second slower than Jaden Harrison. Most of that lost through Blanchimont and in through the bus stop chicane. And this might be Jaden Harrison's race to throw away at this point in time. Separated by half a second already. And just a few corners ago, it was separated by about 1/10 between the two drivers. Now we're looking at much larger margins overall. Those are the intervals to the left-hand side of your screen, not the gaps. But this is the closest battle on the racetrack that we're staring at right now, other than Monet Duploy and Addy Nagel getting close to each other, as Addy is very slow. Monet is going to find his way by at Brussels and get that one pulled out really quickly. Monet gaining 2 positions on the good for the night, up into 5th position, start of the race in 7th. Declan Daniel also up 2, start of the race in 4th, now running in 2nd. Kyle Barnes is down 6, starting from 2nd, resting his head in 8th place, but he's the only driver to have taken a pit stop so far. Oh, and Kyle Barnes is actually officially out of this race, it looks like. Oh, and that's just too darn of a shame, because Kyle Barnes was running so well there for so long. Definitely a what could have been for Kyle Barnes. Jaden Harrison pulls out fast lap, 2:21.0, 2:21.1 for Declan Daniel, so losing just about a 10th on that previous lap to the leader in first place. See it there, separated by around 0.6 of a second between Jaden Harrison and Declan Daniel. Yellow flag being shown for Declan, as he must have gone off and wide through a Rouge and Radiant. Might have to serve a slowdown penalty before the end of this lap. And there he is. He's serving a slowdown penalty for certain, as the gap now opens up to 1.9, nearly 2 seconds. Excuse me, nearly 2 seconds will separate Declan Daniel and Jaden Harrison now. It will be Jaden Harrison's show for the rest of this event. His driver leads with a fast lap of 2:21.07. On lap 7, he was able to produce that. And we're just about through the halfway point of this endurance event. Mini endurance event, let's call it. So the driver is deciding to come down pit road early. Should do it now, as Jaden Harrison definitely is pushing hard as he goes off into the kitty litter at the exit of pit path. Ooh, a big wiggle from Jaden Harrison, maybe thinking about coming down to the pits. Decided against it at the last second. Declan Daniel staying out on the racetrack, driving a 2:23 on that previous lap, really slowing him down by quite a bit. Monet Duploy going for the undercut right now. And we'll watch him for just a brief moment and see if he nails his marks. Julian Narcisse, about 700 meters back, will definitely gain that position over Monet. Revving his engine, spinning the wheels, and getting geared up, ready to go. The safety car there in the background, looking clean as ever. We haven't needed that all race long, so that's been a sight for sore eyes. Very clean race here tonight, other than the tiny little bump into Kyle Barnes from Declan Daniel coming out of Brussels. We'll have to see when the other drivers on the racetrack decide to take their pit stops of the evening, folks, because it will be just after the halfway point that a lot of drivers will want to take their first pit stop and make that their only pit stop of this event. Seeing no other pit stop callers just yet, Addy Nagel would be the next driver up to potentially take a pit stop, I would think. But no, not on this time. Monet definitely going for the very early pit stop, trying to pull out an undercut on the rest of the drivers around him. He's still up one position from where he started on the evening in P6, with Kyle Barnes having a drop. Running order is looking pretty good. The DWR Sim Coach Setups car leads the event right now. Driver from Jamaica. Then we have the trio of Calypso Racing: Declan Daniel, Peter Arundel, and Andrew Marsan. running 2, 3, and 4. Nigel, hailing from South Africa, will run in 5th. Then Monet Deploy and Julian Arce, leader from the Caribbean, Andrew Marsan running a quiet race in P4, currently 5.3 off the good of his teammate Peter Arundel, who's running in 3rd position. Arundel just in the hot lapping session of himself right now. 4.5 is the gap forward, 5.5 being the gap back for Arundel. Top speed of the drivers right now, I'm seeing 271 being the fastest top speed, and that'll be from Andrew Marsan. Next up will be a 270. That'll be from Jaden Harrison out in P1. Checking on in with Declan Daniel in P2, running 3.5 seconds back from Jaden Harrison now. I imagine as we get to the 26 minute mark, drivers have to start thinking about pit stop strategies and when they want to come in. I know that fuel saving is definitely a thing you can do here at Spa-Francorchamps, but can't fuel save an entire stint, I don't think. There's Jaden Harrison into the pits now. I'll give the lead over to Declan, and Arundel will walk right on by also. Rapid pit stop for Jaden Harrison, 36.5 was the pit lane time, 8.5 being the pit timer. Compare that to Monet, who did 38.65 for his pit lane time, and a pit time of 10.17 seconds. Minutes and 40 seconds remaining left in this event, folks, and all is quiet on the western front here at Spa-Francorchamps, Belgium. If you're interested in joining this community, check out Sim Racer's Room on iRacing hosted sessions. Check them out in their league. Check them out on Discord to get involved with all of the racing action that you see here. And you yourself can be caught on stream live on camera. Or I'll make fun of your mistakes shall you make them. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. Pit stop call for Andrew Marsan. Driver who was running pretty well in the order now is going to pit out from position and have to fight to regain them here. Reminder that the first three runners, Declan Daniel, Peter Arundel, and Addy Nagel, have not taken their pit stop yet. So Jaden Harrison running in fourth. Completely normal stuff at this time of running. Talked about it during the pre-race show. Undercut here at Spa is very, very difficult to do. Like that's all we have access to right now. Track is looking pretty rubbered in right now. You can see the dark patches on the asphalt are sitting good as far as traction is concerned. There goes Declan Daniel in the pits, along with his buddy Peter Arundel, also going down pit lane. Jaden Harrison re-inherits the lead of the race as Declan Daniel, Arundel, and Addy Nagel all come down into the pits. Checking in with Julian Narcisse and Monet Dupoy, actually, as he is close to Addy Nagel. Spicy little battle between Adi Nagel and Monet Duploy rounded out here in the final 6.5 minutes of this event by the end of my spiel. Jaden Harrison leads the charge with 6.1 seconds, and another 6.3 seconds back will be Peter Arundel. 9 seconds back from there will be Andrew Marsan Monet running in 5th, Adi Nagel in 6th, and Julian Arce 7th. Julian is still sticking with Monet right now, coming up the hill through Rouge and Radion. Not sure if that's just the way the car has been dialed in. Be fast on new tires, or if that his strategy at the end of this event. Monet still getting chased down by Julian from behind. Still all quiet on the Western Front here. Julie Narcé and Monet Duploy, no, excuse me, Adi Nagel, I apologize. Separated by 7/10 of a second on the racing surface. Monet is up 2 positions from where he started this event, so is Declan Daniel. Up 1 is going to be Julian Arce and Monet Duploy. This will have championship implications, I must point out, as Monet needs to keep on securing top spot podiums, keep hold of that 5th place that he's got his fingertips grasped onto at this point in time. That'll be the checkered flag, folks. I was too busy watching this battle between Monet Deploy and Adi Nagel at the line. I apologize. It flew by me in a blink of an eye. Jaden Harrison takes home P1. Declan Daniel in P number 2. Peter Arundel in 3rd. Andrew Marsan in 4th. Adi Nagel in 5th. Monet Deploy in 6th, with Julian Arce in 7th. Was I muted that last bit? I might have been muted. Stand by, folks. We'll be right back with some driver interviews. Don't go anywhere. Let's go ahead to talk to Peter Arundel. Mr. Arundel, pleasure to talk to you yet one more time. Pretty amazing start you had there.
Yeah, I had a really good start, and then I think I was overcautious into turn 1, and let everyone kind of pass me again. But all in all, I think it was a good start. I've been working on that to try and know just how much slip to put into the car, into the clutch, and yeah, it worked out okay.
Worked out great until we got towards turn 1. And then what was your mindset looking like for the rest of the race, knowing that you kind of had this battle with Jaden Harrison coming in towards Lacombs?
Into Lacombe, yeah, I just kind of I know the two of them were side by side and went slowly through Radion. So then I kind of was able to get up alongside Jaden, and I was just thinking, let's try and keep it clean into Lacombe. But yeah, it was, this is really coming outside of my comfort zone, battling like that. So I figured I'll try and have some fun this race with doing that, and hopefully not have any incidents. And I think it worked out okay.
Worked out great.
Jaden was just too quick. Jaden and Declan were just too quick.
Yeah,
for me.
They were in a league of their own. And what about Kyle Barnes there for a little bit? Really throwing it
Kyle
into
was
the mix.
Flying.
Yeah,
he was flying. I didn't see what happened. That all I know is he had kind of lost it into, I forget the name of that corner, but the hairpin before
Brissell.
No Name, and then Brissell's hairpin, and then was slow out of No Name, and then just, I guess he tires overheated somewhere in there, and he just couldn't hold it through on. So I know it was shaping up to be an exciting battle between him and Declan and Jaden, but yeah, unfortunately he had that little incident.
Yeah,
it would have been interesting to see how that race played out with him up there.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that 3-way battle as well, because it was getting pretty spicy between Kyle Barnes, Declan Daniel, and Jaden Harrison up at the front. They kept it entertaining for the first half, and then yes, that little slip up that
Yeah.
he had through No Name and then Puon really sent it sideways for us.
Yeah.
Well, other than that,
By that time, I was so far back, I couldn't see what was happening. Yeah, I just didn't have the pace to keep up with them that part of the
no
race.
219s out of you then?
No, definitely not. I was happy that I was able to do a load 21 in the last lap, but yeah, just couldn't really put it together this race to get a really quick lap.
Still good enough for the podium and good enough for
Yes.
more points for the championship standings. That's all right in my book. Is there anything in your race we may have missed or anybody that you'd like to mention, brother?
I just want to say, I don't know if you all saw, but I locked up into the chicane, into the bus stop chicane, and kind of came back on track. And and when I got back on track, I saw Andrew and RT like right behind me. So I wasn't too sure if I cut across right in front of them, but looking back at the replay, I think it wasn't too bad. I was well ahead of them when I was trying to get the car back facing the right direction on the track.
We only caught a small glimpse of it. We didn't catch the full frame view, so we didn't catch your rejoin. So I apologize for that.
Yeah. But looking back, I don't think it was too bad.
Right on, man. Well, thank you very much for
Yeah.
joining me in the broadcast booth, Mr. Arundel. And we look forward to talking to you again another week, another time, maybe towards the end of the championship, as you might secure yourself a top 5 spot.
Yep. Well, I'm working on it. Working hard to try and get the results I need to do that.
Keep up the hard work, Peter. Have a great day, sir.
You too. Have a great day and great weekend.
Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Switch things over to Mr. Declan Daniel, who was running in the lead of the race for just a little bit of time after Kyle Barnes dropped out of the event. Declan, you had a pretty exciting race kind of being sandwiched in the middle between Kyle and Jaden Harrison for what was that? Must have felt like an eternity, but in reality, only a couple laps, right?
Yeah, it wasn't long. I'm having a really bad week in P Cup, so I'm kind of glad this week is over. The second place, I'll take it. I unfortunately got a slow down there. I kind of lost sight of Jaden for a bit, but no excuses. It was my fault. Made a mistake. Went a little wide at Orange and tried to win it and couldn't before Brussels. So it is what it is. But P2 isn't bad.
P2 is nothing to shake a stick at, that's for sure. You did a great job keeping it calm, cool, and collected with the pressure mounting up behind you of Jaden Harrison pressuring you while also trying to attack the car in front of Kyle Barnes for that little bit of time. Did you feel any pressure building up? Did you feel anxious? What was going through your head at that time?
No, not really. I like the kind of close battles, cars in close proximity. I think that's the fun part about this. Like my favorite type of racing here is multi-class. Either the sports car challenge with the LMP3 and the GT4s or IMSA styles. So I'm used to that. It's to me it's the best type of racing there is, you know. So it's not really a issue of pressure. It's just to be aware of the car ahead and the car behind. Mostly the car ahead, because the car behind is kind of not your problem until he does something, you know?
Yeah.
It's more on him to not hit you. So you just kind of trust the people who are around you and just focus on what you can control. That's what I typically try to do.
Smart strategy here at Spa-Francorchamps and ended up paying its dividends with a P2. You might still be in the lead of the championship. Big question mark, though, next to that, or big asterisk next to that. You came in leading over Jaden Harrison, but with Jaden Harrison winning, it might be pretty close. Are you looking forward to giving Jaden Harrison a run for his money here for the rest of the championship season and potentially claiming that P1 top spot?
Well, Jaden and I are good friends. We're civil off track, but on track is a different story. We fight. So Yeah, I'll do my best to try the challenge. And you never know, it's racing, so there could be next race I could get taken out or make a mistake so big that it ruins everything. But same thing could happen to him. You never know. So you just come out every week and you try and you see where it is, where you are when the dust settles. That's all.
Very, very true. Anything can happen in racing, and it typically does happen in sports car racing. So, yeah, that's very true. Is there anything in your race that we may have missed, or anybody that you'd like to thank or mention before we let you go, Declan? We talked to Jaden Harrison.
No, just congrats to Jaden. I want to say I'll blame him running away from me on the slowdown, but I think he had me on pace regardless. So no excuses. Shout out to my team, shout out to CRC, shout out to the guys at GSRA, and of course SRR for putting this championship on, and you, Cigar.
Thank you very much, Declan. Really appreciate you, brother. And we'll talk to you again in 1 week's time.
Yeah, bro. Easy.
Be safe, brother. Let's switch things over to Mr. Jaden Harrison, who claims his second victory of the championship. Jaden, must feel pretty good to walk away on top at Spa after starting the race in P1.
Yeah. I mean, it was I think this was the most racing at the front in this championship so far.
I think you're not wrong about that. With Kyle Barnes and Declan Daniel being thrown into the mix in front of you, it was a close pack battle for the first 20 minutes or so until Kyle Barnes fell worse for wear coming out of Brussels and really just kind of ruined his race after that. I couldn't tell what happened coming out of Brussels and in through No Name, but something went terribly wrong. He went to the pit stop, and that's really all she wrote for Kyle Barnes' race. But you're absolutely right. Amazing front pack battling for the first section of this race. It felt pretty good looking at it. How did it feel driving the vehicles?
The slipstream on the dirty air was pretty bad. You kind of had to back out in the high speed sections, but I mean, once you could catch him in the braking, it wasn't too bad. But I think that really kind of messed the racing up because you kind of had to lift in our rouge and you lose your run, and then by the time you get back out to slipstream, it's too late to make a pass. So, I mean, yeah, it was kind of rough. It was easy to stay ahead, but hard to pass.
As goes the saying, catching is one thing, passing is another thing, right? But like you said, it was easy to stay ahead and in clean air. But when you're caught in the dirty air, extremely difficult to run in, that's for sure. And in these Porsche Cups, I bet it was even more challenging than most sports car championships.
Yes.
Right on, Mr. Harrison. Well, is there anything in your race that we may have missed or anybody that you'd like to thank or mention before we let you go?
Not really. I'll give props to Declan and Kyle. I hope to see Kyle especially back again and we can have that big racing at the front. I mean, Peter would have been there, but he had like a little lockup that kind of took his race out. But I hope that how much races that the last two races will be more racing with us.
For sure. Hope to see Kyle back as well. Thank you very much for joining me, Jaden. Really appreciate your love and support, and we'll talk to you in 1 week's time.
Yes.
See you, brother. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here in the broadcast booth, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's been a pleasure to be your host, as always. I apologize for being muted for the last part of that race. I don't know what happened. I must have fat fingered a button, but amazing racing all around. It's been a pleasure as always. Just as a reminder, make sure you have a great weekend, folks, and please stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.